Live. We are live. We are live. We are officially live, doing our first ever stream on multiple platforms at once. We should be up on Twitch, Twitter, as well as YouTube. Just give me a second while I just check out if the live stream on Twitter is operating, or on Twitch rather. Yep, looks like we're good. All right, guys. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has joined, but if you have joined and you would like to join the conversation, please check out our link tree. It's linktree/Creatrepreneur, and you'll see on the link there is an ability to join the chat. So yeah, the whole point of today is to kind of just offer a safe space where anyone who may be experiencing whatever struggles in whatever space they may be in can just get it off their chest, and I'm here to offer my time to be there for you if you are struggling with anything. And yeah, I haven't prepared anything. This is kind of the whole purpose of this is to be community led. It's not about me. It's not about Creator community. It's about the community in general. So yeah, it's a pleasure being here tonight. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see that I did share a little bit of my story about the stream, how I personally have not had the easiest day today. Well, this week, I would say this week has been quite tough, just considering everything that's been going on. And yeah, it's really just sparked a need within me to start the stream, not just for myself, but for anyone else who might be going through a similar rough patch. So yeah, I'm just gonna post that we are live on the story because, like I said, this is a community-driven thing. Why is this? There we go. All right. Like I mentioned earlier, anyone is welcome to join the stream if you want to discuss anything that's on your mind. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can. If you look on whatever platform you're on, if you check our profile, you'll see that there's a Linktree link where you can join the chat. And yeah, it would be a pleasure to have you hop on and yes, join the discussion. So until then, I'm just gonna sort out some admin on my side. No problem, Twinga. I see you. I see you on Twitch. No, that's not a problem. Today is just dedicated. The stream is dedicated to mental health awareness in the creator and entrepreneur space. Yeah, I've just wanted to put out a stream today that was dedicated to the passing of Ricky Rick. And yeah, I've put a link here in the Twitch chat. If anyone wants to join the live stream, you are welcome to join the live stream by clicking on the link. You'll see that it says chat on the live stream. And yeah, basically today we are just spending some time just checking in with one another, making sure that we're all good, just in terms of life. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, a lot of stuff. And yeah, sometimes it can just be a lot, you know. I know for myself, this week has been quite tough for me, and I just wanted to extend a hand to anyone else who might be going through anything tough in their time. So having said that, Klinga, you're our first viewer. So thank you for joining. Thank you for supporting as always. And yeah, I just wanted to find out how you're doing. If you're all good on your side. Um, yeah, I honestly was not, I was gonna pull out on this live stream. Um, and the reason why is because I just, like I mentioned earlier, things this week has just been a tough week. Just in terms of like the passing of Ricky Rick, I think that's been quite a shock to many people, including myself. I never really had the opportunity um, to meet him, but I did meet quite a few people who were greatly impacted by him and basically pushed their careers to new heights. So I know the impact that he had, and also just observing his presence in certain spaces. It was just very easy to see what he was about, what meant a lot to him, um, and the action that he took on people's lives by giving people opportunity. So yeah, that's where the initial idea came from, was to just sit down and commemorate him, but also I think the whole situation is such a terrible situation, and we ought to find some sort of positive outcome from that situation. And I really feel like a part of that outcome is talking about this issue of mental health in young people and those in the creator space, because I know we go through, as creators, we go through a lot of challenges. And yeah, sometimes those challenges are very difficult to deal with. And just being able to share it with someone, get advice from people, feel a sense of community, and as though you're not alone, tends to really help with getting by in those situations. So I wanted to offer a platform where that can be possible. So yeah, Tlinga, I hope you're all good. I don't know if there's anything you're struggling with at the moment that you might need help or advice on. But yeah, I'm here for you if that is the case. Um, and please, I know it might take some courage to be vulnerable and open, but I think there's a lot of strength in that. And there might be people out there watching that might be able to learn from whatever struggles you might be facing. And also, just like I mentioned earlier, just the whole idea of not feeling alone in that space helps. A lot of the time, and I think it's, guys, social media can be such a great tool when it comes to anything really. I mean, if you're trying to build a career in music, it can be a great tool. If you're trying to build a community or a career in graphic design, it can be a great tool. If you're trying to build a career in dietetics, engineering, if you're starting your own business, social media is such a great tool in your disposal to do that, right? And you can reach endless amounts of people through those platforms. And I think that's something that's freaking phenomenal about social media. But with everything comes a dark side. There's always everything is essentially a double-edged sword. Um, and with social media, I think the double-edged sword is that we tend to post the good things on social media, personal good things. Like I say, we tend to post the good things on social media, but you'll go to an app like Twitter, and a lot of the time, people are just posting nasty, nasty things. So in that sense, no, that we don't post good things all the time. But when it comes to our lives and what we show of our lives, very rarely do we talk about the tough things, the things that we're struggling with, because we're not incentivized to. Because it's who wants to have a pity party? Who wants to be depressed and sad, you know? But I think the cost of thinking that way is, and the cost of us not sharing those things is that we have people who land up going through struggles on their own, feeling like there's no one else out there struggling, feeling like everyone else is having the best time on this earth. And look at me being all lonely and sad and not winning and losing and amounting to nothing essentially. Um, I think that's such a terrible reality that we face. And I think if we want to change that reality, we ought to adjust our approach. We ought to change how we do things. And that's honestly the reason why I wanted to start this stream, you know? Um, because and like I mentioned earlier, I wasn't going to do it. Like, guys, I've been struggling. Like, there's all this crap going on in the world, first of all, like the whole thing with Ricky, the whole thing with like Russia. It seems like R's, everything that starts with R. Revenue, the revenue in my business, the cash flow. Like, I'm waiting on payments for people to send me payments, and it's really put stress on me because I've had to tap into savings to get by this month. And I hate doing that because I know the long-term impact that that has, and it puts so much pressure on me going through cash flow issues. And all of that pressure led me to a place this week where I just, you know, when you like wake up and you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna do today. Like, you wake up with a pit in your stomach. I don't know if you've ever woken up with that feeling of a pit in your stomach. And it's just like you just want to crawl into a ball and just go back to sleep. And you kind of just, sleep becomes an escape, essentially. And it becomes difficult to get out of bed. Um, I've experienced that quite a few days this week. Um, and that's been hard on me, bro. It's been hard. And I also know that just being on this entrepreneurial journey, it can get quite lonely sometimes as well. It feels like you're facing a lot of this stuff alone. Um, and it led me to a point this week where, honestly, today I was like, should I really do this stream? Like, what am I going to have to offer? Like, what is going to be the purpose of this stream? And then I thought about postponing it or canceling it, just kind of deleting the post. And I mean, as you guys who are here can see, I mean, there's not a large following on these streams. So I'm just, not many people are going to notice, you know? And that's kind of like my thought process behind it. And I was chatting to, I had the privilege of running into someone that I knew or that I know earlier, um, in the building that I stay in. And I was just chatting to him, and he could see I was down, and he was actually asking for some help from me because he needed to get home and he didn't have the means to get home. So he was asking for if I could lend him like 20 bucks or something like that, or like some small amounts. And yeah, we started chatting, and I remember like he's also been going through like a lot of challenges. He's been building a business as well, and through that experience, like he isn't as privileged as a lot of people, so he doesn't have like something to fall back on, you know. Like if things don't work out for him, there's no home to go to, you know? So, and I remember a few weeks back, he was at the building and in one of the workspaces, and he was sharing his story with me and how he's pushing and trying to make things work. And I remember he was telling me that he didn't have anywhere to stay because he was having problems at home with the family. Um, and I remember when he was telling me this, he had a smile on his face and he was like so calm about the whole situation. And we were just talking about it, and I was just so shook by how calm and like how collected he was, considering the fact that man's had like nowhere to go to. Um, and I spoke to him today, and I was feeling like really down, and I could tell that he could see it because normally when I'm around people, I'm normally happy to see them, you know. I'm normally like engaging, you know, just energetic. I like being around people. And yeah, so like we were just like chatting, and I was thinking about how this guy's noticing that I'm like down today. And then I was thinking about how last time we spoke, he was the one that was down or like going through struggles, and I was in a good place. But then I just compared like how both of the places that we were in, and how like he was like calm and like happy about it, and how I was just like there. And if I compared the situations, my situation was not as bad as his. Like his was way worse. And yeah, I just asked him about it, and we spoke about it, and he was just explaining to me like what had helped him get by, and he was saying that like you just gotta focus on what you need to do. You need to block out the distractions. You need to block out what's getting you down and focus on what you need to do. And when you do that, you get through on the other side. And just him sharing that with me and taking the time to speak to me helped me feel so much more motivated to do this thing. And that's when I recorded the story that I posted on my Instagram earlier. Um, because it really put me in the mindset of like the whole purpose behind the stream is to be there for people, to be a change in this like reality that we're experiencing of things being tough. And I don't want to do that, or I'm thinking about canceling that because I'm experiencing exactly that. And that's just kind of what pushed me to, you know what, just block everything else out and just strive for it, you know, and just create the platform and the space. But yeah, I went on a bit of a tangent, guys. Tlinga, I see your message. I'm gonna respond to it now. I just need to let you guys know that if if you guys want to join this chat and you want to be able to speak on it with me and speak to anyone else listening, we've got a link where you can do that. If you want to speak on the chat, please click here. Yeah, so if you guys want to join the chat and just kind of share whatever you have to share, and Twinga, I see you did ask a question. I would love for you to join the chat and let's talk about it, you know. Let's um let's have a little bit of a discussion about the question that you have, and I'm going to get to it now. Guys, I'm streaming on multiple platforms. I'm streaming on Twitch, I'm streaming on Twitter, and I'm streaming on YouTube all at the same time. I think what I'm going to do quickly is the Instagram stream, because my purpose for streaming is that I want this to be able to reach the people that need to hear it. And my thought behind that is if I can stream it on multiple platforms at once, the chances of it reaching those people will be much greater. And having said that, if you are watching, please do take some time to just like if you go onto my Instagram, onto my Twitter, you will see a link or a post that kind of gives people the link to join. So while I'm setting this up quickly, if you could just take some time to share, because there might be someone on your platform or on your page that might need to hear something that either you or me or someone else has to say. So please do consider taking the time to do that while I set this up quickly. I'll be 2 minutes. But yeah, Twinga, let me read your question so I can like chat to you about it while I do this. So I'm all right, hey Josh. Ricky Rick's passing made me realize a lot of things about the importance of my emotional well-being and my mental health. I'm in a very introspective space. How are you? I think I'm in a similar space. I think the one thing about death, like death is it's a very shocking and like moving place to be, because what often happens in life is we kind of just go along, we kind of just chug along with things. And that chugging along of things, like it really just becomes normal. It just becomes life. Yeah, it's just like what you do. And then you often really forget that like how fragile life is while you're just moving along. And I think that can be a good thing because it allows you to focus on stuff. But I think what death does, and what death has a very funny way of doing, is it really sets you back a bit and kind of grounds you and reminds you that, like, look, we're all on this planet, we're all living, doing what we do. But the time that we have here is very limited. It's very limited. Ricky passed away, I think he was 34. Guys, that's young. 34 is young. You've this you've got so many like things to experience, you know? It's young, bro. And yeah, that whole situation just kind of reminds you that, guys, your time on this earth, you don't know when your time is to go. And it just kind of it serves as a reminder to kind of just re-evaluate what you're doing and where you are with things. So yeah, I get what you're saying, that you're in an introspective space. I feel like I'm in the same kind of mindset. But yeah, I think what I'm gonna do, guys, we're gonna get on all platforms. I see Twinger's got another question. I'm gonna get to that question in a bit. But yeah, thank you. I also see George Mokhale. Thank you so much for pulling through. Thank you so much for contributing. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time, eh? And my hope is that by the time we end the stream, we could at least alleviate the pressure on one person out there. If we can do that, then, and to be honest with you, like I feel like we've already achieved that through myself, because I feel like the whole process of me just having the courage to pull through on the stream and just kind of like stand up for what I believe in and just kind of not succumb to the feelings I was feeling earlier is already someone who's been affected positively. So for that, I'm grateful. But yeah, guys, Twinga, I do see your question. I'm just going to start this live stream on Instagram as well. And like I said, guys, please feel free to share this with someone that might need to hear this. If you know someone struggling or that might benefit from being a part of this conversation, please feel free to let them know that we're extending a helping hand tonight. Okay. Okay, so Twenga, I see I see your question. Do you think platforms like Instagram posts of people perpetuate the illusion of happiness and perfection when reality, or when really some of us, if not most people, are depressed, alone, insecure, making it quite dangerous to our mental health? Yes, I do 100% think that is the case. And I think it also depends on the platform. I think it's mainly you mainly find that on platforms like Instagram. Because yeah, you mainly do find it on platforms like Instagram because people, like I said earlier, like we aren't incentivized to post what we like all of our experiences. The post of you crying, like if you were to post you crying, I guess maybe you would get attention. But if it was like a regular thing that you were going through, then if it was a regular thing that you were going through and you would post about it regularly, I think some people at some point would be like, ah, this person's always crying. Why is this person always crying? So I don't think we're incentivized. If you're posting like your lifestyle, if you're posting about how things are so great in your life, then I feel like you start getting brands that want to work with you. People start sharing that. People start aspiring to be like you. And I think a lot of people, yeah, I think a lot of people actually like create livings around that. Like their income becomes based on that. Their income becomes based on being happy online. And I think that when your income becomes based on your happiness on social media and how you're portraying this certain image of yourself that might not be fully real, I think that becomes a very pressurized situation. I think that becomes something that becomes a lot of pressure because now if you're not happy, your livelihood is dependent on it. And I think that's a very unhealthy thing. And I think a lot of creators go through that kind of struggle. Um, so so yeah, I do think that it does. I do think that social media in that sense can be dangerous for our mental health. I also think that platforms like Twitter as well promote, like this might be a bit different to what you're talking about, but I do think that platforms like Twitter, sorry, I'm just typing. I just want to make sure that people know if they want to join the chat. If you want to join this discussion, just click on the link in our bio. There's a link tree link there. And in the link tree, you'll be able to join this discussion. If you want to speak on the platform, you are welcome to do so. Um, you'll just need to click on that link. If you want to speak on the platform, click the link tree link in my bio. Sorry, I just need to pin this on the Twitter stream. Guys, on Twitter, are you guys seeing me properly? Is it lagging? Because on my side, it seems to be lagging a bit. I don't know what's going on. So, Mr. Mokhale, I saw your message. Guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me on Instagram? Is it working? Just let me know on Instagram. Guys, I'm also streaming on YouTube and I'm streaming on Twitch as well. But yeah, we just having a discussion on mental health. I think it's better now. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we were just having, so okay, I see a lot of people have joined on Instagram. So I'm just gonna give everyone just kind of a synopsis about what's going on here. So as we know, there's a lot going on in the world right now. For me personally, I've had quite a difficult week, and I think that's mainly rooted in some of the happenings that have been going on, not just in my personal life, but globally as well. The passing of Ricky Rick, that's something that really hit hard for me. Um, Being a creative and an entrepreneur and seeing the impact that he had on so many people, him leaving this world is really something that has like had quite an effect on me. When you combine that to what's going on in Russia, the threats of World War III, I mean, it's a bit crazy. And then on top of that, there's also like personal challenges that I know I experience as a creative and an entrepreneur. And I know that a lot of people who might not even be creators or entrepreneurs also experience, even in like the workplace, right? Anyone who's dealing with anything career related can be a bit challenging as well. So yeah, for me, it was just a tough situation, a tough week. I felt like the passing of Ricky Rick really put something on my heart to create some sort of platform where we as young people can just kind of connect with each other and be there for one another. So I wanted to be the start of that. I wanted to put out my hand to anyone else who might be struggling out there. And through doing that, that has helped me. Just the courage of doing that has helped me confront a lot of the challenges and like things that I'm facing as well. So yeah, that's the whole purpose of this stream. It's to, number one, for you to be able to share anything that you're going through. And number two, be there for anyone else who might be going through something tough as well. So for you guys that are here, I appreciate you being here. And yeah, my goal tonight is if I can just help one person tonight go through something tough that they're going through, then I feel like we've won in terms of the purpose of this. So that's why we're here tonight. And it's a pleasure having everyone here. If you guys want to speak on the platform, you are 100% welcome to. You can just click on the link tree. There's a link there. So I'm on Twitch as well, and we've got a few questions. I mean, we had a question from Twinga just now asking about if I think platforms like Instagram and people posting about their illusion of happiness and perfection affects their our mental health, and I answered that. I feel like it does. Um, I think it's a filter, right? It's a filter to reality, and I think when we constantly bombarded with this filter, it distorts our idea of our reality, and I think that can have negative consequences on all of us. So I think that's also why I feel like it's so important to do these things, is because when you start streams like this and you talk real, you share your experience, a lot of people out there can see, okay, this person's always posting these stories of them driving this car, or this person's always posting stories about doing this, and it looks like their business is doing so well and blah, blah, blah. But guys, for real, like I was sharing it earlier, one of the reasons why I'm here and why I felt the need to do this stream is because I'm struggling. I'm struggling with like my challenge right now is cash flow and people paying me for work that I've done. Um, that cash flow pressure has put a lot of like stress on me, and that's tough. And I know a lot of people will see what I put out there and be like, no, this guy is doing well, like why is he complaining? Guys, it's real. Like the stuff we're going through is real. Just because we don't share it doesn't mean it's not real. And here is an opportunity for you to share your reality so that someone else can see, you know what, I'm also going through shit, and it's fine because other people are going through that as well. And I can be there for them and they're also there for me. So that's the whole purpose. If that's something that you are for, then yeah, I see. So I'm going to move to George first. George's message has been sitting here for a bit. We need to discuss the difference between being sad versus being depressed. I think that there's a distinction between the two that will help how we help each other. I'm not a professional, but I think that being sad is an emotion as opposed to being depressed, and which is an actual state of mind. And it's not one dimensional. So really helping someone cannot be one size fits all approach. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a difference between being depressed and being sad. I think sadness is a natural thing that everyone goes through at some point. And that's just the nature of life. The way I view it is that if you are going to go through life, and guys, I know I'm the only one having this discussion right now, but if you want to join, like, please, I'm not the only one like that has an opinion. Join, please, like, click on the link in the description. There's a link tree link. You can click on there, and you'll be able to join this chat with me on all the platforms that we're streaming on. So please, guys, I'm not the only one that has an opinion, but I'll share my opinion to get the conversation started. So yes, I do believe there's a difference between being sad and depressed. I'm also not a clinical psychologist, so just take that with a grain of salt. And sadness is an essential part of life. Pressure and stress are all essential parts of life, in my opinion. Um, and the way that I view it is like, if everything is happy, then what is happiness? You need to have something opposite to happy to actually experience what happiness is. And it goes the same for like stress, right? Um, if you're stressed, I believe that you being stressed means that you're going through a phase of some sort of growth. And that pressure that's being put on you is putting you in a place where you kind of need to like, you need to look at yourself and kind of identify what is the lesson that I can take away from being in this situation, because there was obviously something that put you in that space, that can, and it's, you put in that space for a reason. There's a reason why you're in that space. That's how I get by. So, and a lot of people might disagree. Oh no, like there's no reason. It just happens. But for me, what makes being in that stressed space and that difficult space worth it is finding a reason. Because if I'm able to find a reason, then I'm able to learn something. And then when I get through that space, I'm able to come out different to what I was before. Um, and I'm able to come out with more than I went into that space with. So my philosophy is that if you go in with that mentality, if you look for the reason for your struggle, or if you look for the reason for your stress, and you find one and you're able to learn from it and adapt from it, then it makes that whole process of being stressed and going through pain worth it. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier when it came to like me not wanting to start the stream. Um, I didn't have the courage, or I didn't feel like I had the courage, or if I had what it took to get through the stream. But by doing it, I've put myself in a situation where we're actually talking about these things. We are making an impact, and we are discussing these things that don't often get spoken about. And through doing that, it's helped make me feel a bit better, because it's added a little bit of purpose to my life. So that's an example of what I'm talking about. Like, I was feeling like I was in this place of like things being tough. And through that experience, it led me to this point where we are having these discussions and it's actually helping, and it's equipping me with a lesson that I've learned. And I would say the lesson that I've learned is, when you're going through something tough, sometimes being there for someone else can help you get through that, if that makes sense. Yeah. All right. I see Yusuf on IG Live. I got something to say about this, and it's been upsetting me with regards to filters and real life expectations. Yo, Yusuf, please share what you have to say, man. Because like the whole development of this filters thing, it's really, in my opinion, I think it's getting a bit out of hand, because it's really it's really distorting our sense of reality, right? And I guess one could argue that no, we're moving towards this whole metaverse and our sense of reality is changing. And I understand that argument. But I think there is a transition period where we need to just be cognizant of these things. Like, filters can be dangerous. It can really alter your self-perception. And the thing is, a lot of like what I would also like to maybe touch on a bit is, a lot of these social profiles actually put filters on your face without you knowing. So right now I'm doing a live stream, but the video that's being streamed right now, Instagram will put subtle filters that you can't notice on your face, even when you don't have a filter on. It's just a natural filter. Um, and that's a thing. And I think that that can also be a part of the problem. Bro, but people are bombarded with images on a daily basis on an unreal life. And I feel like that's one of the biggest contributors. We have such, like, one of the biggest challenges of our generation is being able to view things realistically. And I've experienced this in my career, because when I grew up watching PewDiePie. I grew up watching The Sidemen. I grew up watching KSI. I grew up watching all of these famous internet people. And through that experience, you see these guys that are so young. And maybe it's not just like, it doesn't have just to do with the internet. It's kind of like in general, like in any space of life. Even Martin Garrix was also another one that I would always, me and my friends would always talk about and look to. But Martin Garrix and these young, successful people, you see them all on social media living these crazy lives. Like, they're driving crazy cars, they're doing crazy things, they're traveling the world, living life, all at the age of 20, sometimes 19, sometimes 18. And you see that as a young person, and you grow up and you kind of set this expectation for yourself where you like, you know what? I can live that life too. I can live that life too. If they can do it, why can't I do it? But the whole joke about it, or the dark side to it, is that like those people are living those lives, but that's like 1% of the population, maybe not even 1%, you know? So realistically speaking, the chances of you living that life is actually very small. And you kind of set this expectation in your head where you're like, okay, by the time I get to this point, and this is something that I struggled with a lot last year, especially. I was just like, I was expecting myself to be some crazy place last year, like some insane position in life. Because when I was younger, I would like look at people who were a little bit older than me, who were in their 20s, and see the stuff that they're doing. And I would like be like, yo, I can do that too. And then as you get older, you learn like you get to that age and then you kind of like feel really crappy about yourself because you had this expectation to be in a certain place at that point, and you get to that age and you're not at that point, and it can be really tough on you because you really believe that you're going to be there, you know? And that's a hard reality to deal with, you know? And I think that whole thing that I had to go through last year, kind of through that experience, really kind of grew me. Number one, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like you need to go through stress and struggle to grow. So I think what I grew from that stress and struggle was the ability to acknowledge that, look, life is different. But secondly, that that younger version of myself that had that expectation didn't know shit about life. Didn't know what it meant to start a business, didn't know what it meant to be broke, didn't know what it meant to have to pay bills, didn't know what it meant for all these like realities, you know? And yeah, that was a tough lesson to learn, but knowing that and going through that helped me find a new sense of peace, helped change my mindset. And I feel like now I'm at a point where I understand, like, look, I don't accept mediocrity. I don't expect any mediocrity from my life. But what I have learned is that we all go through different highs and different lows. And when it comes to life, those highs and lows happen through your life as well. So just because you're not going through a high now and you might see other people going through a high, doesn't necessarily mean that your high isn't coming. Like your high will come at some point and your opportunity will come, and it won't be the same. It won't be the same as other people that you're observing. So knowing that and accepting that can really bring a sense of peace and allows you to focus on what you need to do. Because when you're worrying about, oh, I'm not where I want to be, that person's so far ahead, you start putting yourself in like a really depressing space, and that space actually stops you from achieving that high that you have coming towards you. So yeah, that's something that I've learned, you know. But yeah, guys, it'll be really dope if anyone's keen to join the discussion. Like, you are 100% welcome to. The link is in my bio. If you just click on there, I'll be able to get a request on my side to be able to get you on the chat, and then you can also come and share your experience. Like I mentioned earlier, I really don't want this to be about me, you know. This whole thing is much more than just me. This whole thing is about all of us as a collective, as young people. And as young people, as young people that are at the forefront of this digital revolution, we all have some level of control in terms of where things go. We are ultimately like the deciders of where we're going to go and what direction we're headed in. And what I'm seeing a lot of over time is that we are really, as young people, falling victim to social media. And I want us to get us to a point where we become victors over the stuff that we're facing. And in order to do that, we need to have these discussions as to why we keep falling victim. Ricky Rick is an example of someone who's fallen victim, right? I don't know what happened in his life that led him to that point, but I know that he is a young person that felt some level of pressure on him, and you can tell through his music, like his lyrics and the stuff that he put out there, that he felt a lot of pressure. And I think what's also important for us to note about that is that with that pressure that he felt, like it's just an example of how you can have almost everything in the world and it still isn't going to make everything okay. Like just because you have a nice car, just because you have a successful career, and I think that's also just like the dark joke of the day, right? Is we on these social media platforms and we see all of these people with like all of these things that we want, but guys, they're dying too. Like they're dying too. So it's just an example of how when it comes to these things, it's like honestly, like happiness and peace, I don't think it's realistic to expect happiness throughout your life. I believe you have to go through some level of trial and tribulation through your life in order for your life to be meaningful. But I think it's about being a conqueror, conquering those tough things that you're going through. It's not about falling victim to them. It's about conquering them, because through conquering them, you learn, you grow, you become better than what you were yesterday. You progress in life, you progress to something more. And through that progression, you have an impact on those around you, and you help those others around you go through what they're going through. And if you're able to help one person, that person is able to help someone else. So it's about finding that within you. It's about finding that sense of conquering within you and cultivating so much to the point where it's overflowing into the lives of other people, which overflows into the lives of those around them. And through that, you create legacy, you create impact, something that lasts beyond you. And that's kind of something that I've also learned this year, and that I've kind of set as a goal for myself personally, is at the beginning of the year, I was really struggling with my sense of purpose. And I think the reason why I was struggling was because a lot of the things that I did they were for me. They were for my life. They were for my progression. Um, and I think when I had that selfish like outlook, pressure on me, because like if I didn't do it, then I'm failing myself. Um, but also I think at some point you like when you're going through those lows, or if you're going through stuff that's tough, you don't always like love yourself. You don't always view yourself as someone who's worthy of those things that you're looking for. And when you're going through those times, like if you don't view yourself as that, then you don't have any like reason or motivation to pursue it and get through it. And it makes that whole thing get like of pushing through and conquering it so much more difficult. So it led me to the point beginning of this year when I had to reevaluate my purpose. Why am I doing what I do? And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, what is the point of doing things to myself? There's no point in doing things to myself, because after a few years, let's say I live to be 80, right? That means I've got like what, 50 years left. So I live to be 80, which is actually such a small period in the greater scheme of things. And then I die. And then when I'm gone, what is left? If I was doing everything for myself, what is left? Like, and then what is the purpose of my existence? There was no purpose of my existence beyond me. So that sort of just led me to the point where I was just like, you know what? I need to find a different purpose. And the best conclusion that I could come to was that if my purpose is legacy and leaving something behind beyond me, then that shifts my mind to a place where it's like everything that I do and the things that I strive to achieve are not for me, they for people around me. They for impacting those around me, impacting those in the world. And if you can achieve that, and if you strive to achieve it, I believe you will achieve it. If you can continuously strive to achieve that, at some point you will be able to achieve some degree of that. And whatever that degree is, will leave something when you're gone. And that became the right purpose for me. How many you are doing the Lord's work, bro? I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming through, dude. Guys, also, I keep saying this, but like, this is just, I don't want this to be about me. This isn't about me, man. This is about us. This is really about us. So I'm waiting for someone to like have the courage to join this and to share what they think. Um, and I do believe that there's someone out there that will have the courage to do so. Um, but yeah, if you're watching this, like maybe that's a message to you, man. I see. Okay, Yusuf, I see you joined on you want to join on the live, on the IG live. The only challenge that I have with that is, you know what? Let's do it. We'll do it. Screw it. We'll do it. All right. Let me see if this works. For some reason, it's not letting me accept. Ah, there we go. Yusuf, how are you, sir? No, I'm great, bro. I'm great.
So, you know what? It's an interesting discussion, really. With this whole Ricky thing and the whole mental illness thing that came up. I've been struggling a lot with content creation for these clients. Because the one thing I'm finding is face filters, face tune, all that
Mm,
crap being used way too much. So it's creating a very unrealistic image for a lot of people. And I feel that's one of the biggest problems we have, especially with regards to social media. There's so many young hopefuls out there. They look at all these influencers or content creators or whatever they are, models and stuff like that. But they're being led in the wrong direction.
yeah.
Because the only thing I see is people are not happy with themselves and thereby they're causing crap by everyone else. Because everyone else is following in their footsteps and yes, creating an unrealistic expectation of what beauty is supposed to be. I mean, I deal with
Mm,
models on a daily basis, and I have this conversation almost daily. You know, the insecurities that these models have, and all of these issues that they have are unrealistic issues. They're not real,
yeah.
and that's based on what they see around them on social media, other influencers or models or whatever the case.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been working on me. I've been wanting to talk about this here for a while now.
No, I get you, man. I completely agree with what you're saying. I do think that like when it comes to the whole situation with filters, I do think it creates an unreasonable expectation. And I think it's like it's very subtle, you know, because with these filters, you only realize them when they're off. Like when you're filming a story or whatever, and you like recording it, you're like, oh damn, I look good, and then it turns off, and then you're like, what? Who is that ogre over there? You know. But I think at the end of the day, you know, yeah.
I don't feel people should be thinking that way anymore. I mean, um, as I always say, social media is what you show the world, right?
Mm,
And if you're going to show that you're unhappy with the way you look, with using filters and things like that, I, I see a problem in the future.
yeah.
Because, I mean, the generation that's coming after us, I mean, from the time we were young to now, so much has changed.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen to the generation after us with regards to expectations of beauty, reality, money, flashy cars, all those kind of things? What's going to happen? A
Mm.
lot of people only see a lot of people are deserving of the cars and they work hard in it, but they don't show the hard work.
That's the thing,
And
bro.
people,
It's
people
we.
only see the good stuff, which,
So you're talking about like filters in the physical sense of like actual filters on your face. But if you think about it, it's actually a filter of life and the struggles that we go through in general, you know? Like all of the stuff that we put on our social medias is mostly like our successes, right? And you don't see what goes on behind that. And we've had this chat, like we know this is the case, right? But I think it becomes like, how do we conquer that, you know? And I think that's the whole purpose of like starting this kind of discussion is I think by us talking about this struggle and like this is a struggle that you're facing, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of people that come onto your profile and they see like the stuff that you're doing, all the shoots that you're on, and there's young aspiring photographers that want to be like you and they see all of that stuff, but they don't really understand like this problem that you're dealing with that you're sharing now.
besides that, they see all the shoots and they don't see the time and effort that goes behind the scenes. The editing. I mean, you know the editing, the time spent doing the research, all those kind of things. Nobody
Mm,
sees all of it. I mean, we
Yeah.
It's amazing. And everyone will DM me like, yo, you're so busy. That's amazing. What? The three shoots are nothing. It's the editing work and the hours spent afterwards dealing with all of that stuff that take the most time. And no one sees the sleepless nights because you don't show them that stuff. They just see the end result.
Because that's not what that doesn't get the likes, you know. Shave is the little one in the back, wanting to share his story too.
Yeah, his story. You don't want to hear his story.
But yeah, no, like, but I honestly believe that through this platform, through sharing these issues, it kind of just gives everyone that perspective that we need, you know? And I think there needs to be some real aspect of social media. It can't just like, yes, there are benefits of like posting your wins. There's are benefits of posting your successes. And people that post that stuff, you know what? Like that's amazing that you can like share in the glory of the win that you're having. And I want to share in that too, because that motivates me and inspires me. And I know there's other people as well that see that stuff that also in turn get motivated and inspired, you know? So I think that's the positive side of it. But we also just need to consider the negative. And I think the negative includes having some sort of real aspect to what we go through and what we experience. And that's why it's so important to have these discussions.
How do you bring real life into the social media world?
We're doing it right now. We're doing it right now through this discussion. So, and I think it's important to do that. I mean, whether people want to listen or not, like, I think there are some people here that might not have known this thing that you're struggling with. And just also talking about the whole thing with filters and what, like, the way you're talking about is like it makes things difficult for you. Like, it makes your job harder, right?
Yeah, I mean, besides making my job harder, my job is the part I'm least worried about.
Mm,
Clients' expectations, real life versus social media. I mean, a lot of times you get about walking in and she's nothing like the client booked.
yeah.
And you sit there with a conundrum, like, what do you do?
Mm.
Do you
Yo, that must be so
tell
awkward.
the client, look, bro, this is not you. Or do you just take it on and what do you do in that sense?
Yeah. You get people getting catfished.
I mean, I have a lot of conversations with the models that come in, and a lot of them, the expectation of beauty has been raised way too high. And people get put down by it a lot.
Mm.
And there has to be a way that we can show the world that all the beauty is fake. All that they see, most of what they see on social media is fake.
Yeah. And it's like that with like TV as well, eh? Like people think that reality TV is reality. Nah, guys, there's producers behind the scenes pulling strings. Like,
It's pre-recorded 6 months in advance.
yeah. And I think that's kind of like a benefit that we have as people in the creative space because we kind of see the behind the scenes. So for us, it helps us balance our level of expectation. You know, there's this one show, Dragon's Den. I don't know if you've heard of it, or
Never
it's
watched it, never watched it.
it's similar to Shark Tank. I don't know if you know Shark Tank.
That's
So
I know Chuck.
So essentially, like it's similar concept, right? And I actually met a guy who was working with one of the guys who was one of the investors on the show, and he was saying, like, bro, like some of the guys that are investors on that show aren't even investors; they're personalities. Like it's their brand. The reason why they're on that show is because they built this brand of being successful. They built this brand of having money and being wealthy. But in reality, they aren't really investing. They're actually, on those shows, what they do is a part of the budgets that they put towards the show is budget put towards the investors. So the investors get a pool of budget that they can invest in certain things. So it's not even their own money that they're putting towards it. And people don't know that, right? People don't know that. And they see these people and they're like, oh no, like, why am I not investing? Why am I not at that point in life? Especially if it's someone that's young. I think young people also really struggle with that a lot. It's like that kind of discussion, that kind of expectation put on young people, it causes depression.
But also, that should also, you should find a way to give young people that opportunity to have a say, be able to invest, to be able to feel important.
Mm,
Especially with like reality TV series, all those kind of things. I mean, we have the ability and the power to create, to create new pathways for the new generation coming along. Especially with the new social media age, with the whole content creation being something that we can do, just with the phone. We we now have the ability to allow these youngsters to partake and be part of the new era, the new generation of media or TV for them, you know, because TV has now become a thing of the past. Who watches the SABC anymore?
Yeah.
You know, everyone's around to the phones. So we have the ability. The problem is, how do you bring that into reality? How do we bring that whole concept of allowing the younger generation to be part of something they all want to be a part of? We don't have the need or the funding or the looks or whatever it is to be part of it. How do you bring that all together?
Yeah. No, it's tough. But I think what you're saying is so true in terms of like the barrier has been lowered so much in terms of being able to participate and have a voice. And the way that I view it is like traditionally, you would need to, if you wanted to communicate to people, you would need to go to a room of people and start talking. You would need to stand on a chair in a busy intersection and start screaming at the top of your lungs to get your message across, right? You would maybe you would need to like print flyers or hire out billboards so people could see what you have to say. But the beauty of moving to an online space is that our ability to communicate and our ability to speak to people has moved away from physical aspects in terms of physical billboards, physical voice.
Bigger reach now. I mean, the reach is at our fingertips now, whereas before that reach wasn't there.
Yeah,
So with the use of platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all those kind of platforms, we have the reach to engage with the same markets or the same people that that TV could reach maybe 10 years ago, not maybe more. Because if you look at your mobile phones, how many people have access to a mobile? I mean, maybe on Facebook. I mean, I think the stats were 27 million South African users are on Facebook.
yeah,
Which is what, almost 1/3 of the population.
yeah. No, it's crazy.
So I mean, we have the platforms, we have the ability. The problem is just putting everything together and making a reality for not only the clients, for the small businesses. I mean, there's so many small businesses out there that need proper commercials. I mean, if you look at, and I have this conversation as well with a lot of my clients. What sets Navia apart from your brand? Navia has the funding to do proper ads. You know, with us photographers now, everyone is doing the whole B-roll and stuff, which is cool. But what's stopping us from now tapping into that ad space and starting to create proper ads for these small clients, getting them a bigger reach, bigger markets, and making them look more professional? I mean, since COVID, how many small businesses have grown up, have shown up? You know, and since then, how many small businesses have grown up and I need or would appreciate proper production value for the videos, for the ads, for the business. And people are charging like ridiculous prices for that. I mean, I the guy's charging 10 grand. And where can a small business afford 10 grand for video ads?
No, that's where the gap lies, eh? And you're talking about the opportunity, and sorry, I just need to give a quick shout out to Ibrahim. How are you, bro? Also, Tsecho, shout out for coming through, leaving some love. But yeah, it's a pleasure having you guys here. So, no, you're 100% correct, and what you're talking about is a lot about the opportunity, right? There's like having access to ultra HD cameras in your pocket is like crazy compared to where we were a few years ago, and there's a lot of opportunity in that space, you know. But I think that it's not just. Sorry, say that again.
Some of the best content can be created with your phone, and people are afraid to explore because of expectations. You know,
Yeah.
it's a phone. That's what they say.
Yeah. I mean, go look at some of the people that have gone viral. They've recorded the content with their phone. Do you know Kabi Lame?
No.
Like you know this guy.
Yes.
You know Kabi Lame. So now,
I've seen.
yeah, you know him. So with him, what's so crazy about him is like his stuff is not shot with a red camera. It's not shot with lighting. It's not shot with the best microphones. What he's done is he's entered the content curation space. So what he does is he filters through all of this content that's put online. And because the bar has been lowered so much and it's become so much more accessible to put content online, people be able to be empowered to do so. So what we found is that a lot of people are putting content online, right? But now if you go look through that content, we'll know everyone that's got a TikTok feed or that goes on IG Reels, you come across content that's probably not the best content, right? That could be worked on, that could be improved in some other way. And
But then the opportunity comes in as well. I mean, the
mm,
workers for a smaller business, where you teach them how to use your phone as a tool.
yeah,
To date, my best video created was done with a Samsung Note 9.
yeah.
And it was for a corporate client. And the video came out brilliant, you know. Yeah, we came out brilliant.
Yeah, no, and that's the opportunity that we're talking about. But I digress. I think it's also important to consider that there is the opportunistic way to look at it, but the way that I also view it is that it's a necessity. If you look at how communication is starting to happen and how it's being facilitated through social media, if you want to be able to talk, if you want to be able to communicate, you have to have some degree of content creation skills. You have to be able to create some form of content to be able to communicate your message. And the more we get integrated into this digital space, the more our ability to communicate is going to be dependent on that. So if you don't have that capability, you're going to find yourself silenced in a world where everyone is communicating through content.
Get this to the small businesses so that they don't get silenced. Because I mean, the small businesses are the ones that require this the most. So how do we get that to the small businesses?
Education. You teach them. And that's what we're doing with Creatra, with the Creatra community, is the whole purpose of the Creatra community is to bridge the gap between creatives and Ibi actually also just mentioned a really important thing here, selling presets, right? You make it accessible. So someone might not necessarily know how to put it, like create a great Instagram grade, color grade, right? But sell a preset to them. They're willing to buy the preset because they don't want to put the time into learning the whole skill and years that it takes to be able to color grade properly. But sell them the preset where they can just drag and drop it and slightly adjust it, and then now they're able to participate in that space.
Setting a preset, as you said, it's not as simple because I mean, there's a lot of people that don't know how the preset works. So that's where education comes in. So it's not as easy as setting a preset anymore.
No, it's about educating people on how to use the tools.
Some sort of training.
Yeah.
So that the person who has the content creation skill has the ability then to then add it to their.
Yeah, and that's also how we create jobs in our economy. Is there's a gap there. There's people that need this ability to communicate. So if we're able to educate people on how to do that, and they're able to provide that service to people, and more of those people enter the market, the price that's going to be required to pay them will drop, and it will become more accessible to companies who don't necessarily have 10,000 Rand budgets. But then there'll be people out there that are able to fulfill the need and will be able to also gain some sort of monetary value out of being a part of the economy.
Yeah. Anyways, bro, it was lovely chatting.
Absolute pleasure.
Definitely do this again.
100%. Thank you for coming through and say hello to the little one for us.
I will. I apologize about the way I look today.
No, man. You just needed to put a filter on, man. Come on. There we go. Sending all the love back to you, sir. Cheers, cheers. That was dope. I hope everyone else who's on different platforms is able to hear that. I just miss taking photos with thick, juicy bokeh backgrounds. I mean, what's stopping you from doing that, sir? What's stopping you from going and doing a young photo mission? But yeah, so basically, I don't know if everyone else in the other streams is able to hear that, but Yusuf was just talking about how filters are affecting our psychology and our mentalities when it comes to our ideas of self-love. And I agree with what he's saying. I think it's dangerous to an extent, but I also think it's kind of expected, right? We kind of have, like, in the direction that we're moving into this like online space, our existence is becoming less and less dependent on reality and our physical being and becoming more digitized, right? And I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of that when we see technologies like, for example, I don't know if you guys know of Google Glass, um, and augmented reality. So basically, the whole topic of that discussion is how we're going to create technology that can take what's in front of you and augment on top of it. So, for example, instead of me just looking at my AirPods case and kind of like guessing how much power it has or connecting my phone and checking how much power it has, I would be able to view my AirPods case through glasses and have the power description come up on the AirPods, right? That doesn't necessarily exist in reality, but is shown on a screen. So my belief is that once that kind of technology becomes a reality, we're going to like our ideas of reality are going to shift quite drastically. I think it's going to be very beneficial in the fashion space because right now, if you look in the fashion space, a lot of the pollution that we experience in the world comes from fast fashion. We're creating clothing and people are buying it, and then the next season comes and we create more clothing and more people buy it, and we'll end up just having so much clothes that just go to waste, you know? Um, and augmented reality can really become a solution to that because what's stopping you from buying a single shirt, but then just augmenting whatever design you want to be on that shirt, for example? I think that's a reality that's going to make things ecologically so much better. Um, but yeah, no, that's shout out to Yusuf for coming through. As a woman scrolling through social media daily, it's sickening to think how crappy I feel just for seeing images of perfect people. Hashtag drop the filter. Yeah, I think, Amy, it's really like it's a tough one, hey, because we kind of get this like specific view of people's lives that isn't realistic, you know? It's you don't see what goes on behind all of that, right? That photo shoot that someone's taking, you don't see all of the makeup that's got on their face. You don't see all of the like different lighting that's all behind that. It's not reality, and it creates a distorted perception of what is real. It kind of perverts it in a way. And I think that's kind of what Yusuf was talking about. He was, so just to give you background, Yusuf is a photographer and creator. And he works with a lot of like models. And he was saying that it becomes a challenge because people show up to sets not looking like their photos. And now they have to like work around this person that looks completely different. But then also in the sense of, I think it also takes away from people's ability to accept themselves, right? And I think you get a lot of happiness and contentment from just being you, you know? Um, so yeah, I think definitely what you're saying is 100% valid. And I think it's really created a challenge for us where we kind of have to rely on filters as a crutch in order to feel okay about things. We kind of have to post a certain thing in order to get attention online. And if we stop posting that stuff, then people stop joining. And like it's even kind of happened now. I mean, we had quite a few people in the chat, and now they've kind of left the chat. And I hope that it's not because of the topic that we're discussing, because I think the topic that we're discussing is super important. Um, but yeah, like Amy, do you want to share like any of your experience, like in terms of like something that's kind of that you've scrolled past that's kind of made you feel a certain way? Because I think sometimes it's important for us to just remind each other that, you know, like although you might see someone looking a certain way or having a certain thing, you don't really see what goes on in the background behind that. Like yes, someone might be driving a nice car, but you don't know what their like family situations like, you know. You don't know what their health is like. You don't know all those things. So uh, so by you, sorry, I just exited the stream by mistake, but the point that I was getting to was a lot of the times you don't see those things, and because you don't see the bad that people are going through, you don't it kind of makes it difficult to be grateful for the things that you do have. Because I can tell you now, whatever you came across that made you feel that way, there's something that you have that that person doesn't. But that person, or maybe there are people out there that are looking at what you what you have and feel the same way, you know? There might be people out there that see, oh no, Amy's got this, Amy's got that, I don't have that, and then might feel depressed. What would you say to that person? Because whatever you would say to that person is what you need to say to yourself. Um, and yeah, don't forget that. Like, don't forget that. We need to be able to remind ourselves of everything that we have, and that's one of the first steps that comes to being happy. Like for me, one of the biggest changes that I've made that's helped my mental health is just manifesting or waking up in the morning and being grateful and taking time to just give thanks for everything that I have. Because I might not have everything else out there that others have, but there's a lot that I do have that other people might not have, or that those people that I'm aspiring to be like do have or don't have, rather. And I ought to be grateful for that. Not for the fact that they don't have it, but for the fact that I do have it. And if you can cultivate a situation where you have so much that you're overflowing in abundance, you'll be able to share that with others. And the first way that you can do that is by being grateful for what you do have, because that uplifts your mood, it changes your perspective, and it empowers you to be able to change those around you through your positive mindset. Because if I have a positive mindset today, if like, and I keep giving this example, I was giving this example earlier in the stream, like I wasn't going to do this stream today because I felt like, ah, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling bad, like I'm not feeling great today, this week has been crap, how am I going to go on this live stream and like just make something out of it? And I thought about it and I was thinking the whole purpose of me wanting to do this live stream was to be able to be there for people who are in the situation that I'm in. So if I'm going to stop the live stream, it's going to take away from that purpose. And what I found from having the courage to be able to continue with the live stream tonight is, yes, I may not have 100 people in the stream. We have 2 people in the stream right now. But if I'm able to speak to those 2 people and impart anything onto them, then that changes my life. Like I feel so much better that I've been able to, because I had courage to start the stream, because I'm grateful for the fact that I have a phone, I have internet, and I have the capability of being able to speak. Because I'm grateful for that, it's led me to the point where we're having this conversation and I'm able to share how that's in my mental state tonight. That's literally improved my mental state. The fact that we're sitting here having this conversation makes me feel so much better about the fact that I actually had the courage to do the live stream. And that mindset change, the point that I'm trying to get across is that that mindset change is contagious. Because if I can impart that on you, if you can impart that onto one more person, then that can make a big difference in the world that we're facing or in the world that we are in. So that's the point that I'm trying to get across, is like just changing the way that you think about things, your perception can really be beneficial, not just for you, but the world. And the thing is, like, the more people that you impact, like, I know that a portion of the people that are listening to this, they will, at some point in time, our paths will probably cross again. And maybe when our paths cross again, maybe I'm the one who's going through something tough and I need someone to remind me of this way of thinking. I know that, Amy, you'll be there for me whenever I go through that situation. So that's why it's important, because as you put that out there, in some or other way, it will come back to you at some point. And that's a super powerful thing that a lot of people, they don't realize that they have that power. And I think maybe that's the purpose of tonight, is to be able to like share that message with people, that share with everyone who's listening that like you have that power within you. And with that power comes a level of responsibility, not just to yourself, to like look into yourself and like adjust your own mindset, but the fact that by you doing that affects those around you too. And if you're able to do that, you will start to see things working out a lot better in your favor, because you'll be exuding positivity around you, and that people will be grateful for that. People will want to give you opportunity for that. People will want to be involved in your life. People will want to join your live stream, and that's powerful. So yeah, that's kind of like my takeaways. Yes, with great power come with great power. With great power comes great responsibility. 100%. Let's see what you're saying earlier, Amy. There's so much out there that makes you want to be someone that literally doesn't exist. It's just mind blowing to think that even though we have these chats, we still do easily fall into that trap of comparing ourselves unrealistically. It's natural. And the reason why it's natural is because our instinct is designed to focus on negative things. Because if you think about like the way that we developed over time, if you think about like hundreds of years ago, we had to be aware of the negative things around us happening in order to survive. So if people were fighting with one another, we would see that and we had to focus on the negative aspect of people fighting with one another and avoid that, because if we get close to that, the chances are we're going to be dragged into the fight and we're going to get hit and be a part of that, right? So that's a very like simple example of what I'm saying, but this applies to like a lot of things. If it's about to rain, we need to be aware of the fact that the rain is coming in order to be able to build some sort of shelter so that we don't get sick and survive, so we're able to survive the storm. So our natural instinct is to focus on the negative. But what's landed up happening is we've evolved so much to the point where focusing on the negative actually starts to hold us back, because when it like, and I say this as though it applies to all of us, but there are people out there that still need to worry about the rain. You know, there's people out there on the street that still need to worry about the rain coming. But most of us have moved past that point, and this is what we call like self-actualization. If you go to like Maslow's hierarchy, we've moved past, a lot of us have moved past the physiological needs and we move on. And once you start moving on beyond those needs, you actually thinking negatively about things actually starts holding you back. Um, because what lands up happening is you wake up in the morning, you feel whatever storm, you focus on whatever storm, and I say storm in inverted commas because that storm could be anything. That storm could be the actual rain outside and now you don't have an umbrella and now you need to run in the rain, or that storm could be your finances and some your rents that you need to pay at the end of the month. Whatever that storm may be, we naturally programmed to focus on that. And the reason why is because it's programmed in our survival instincts. But a lot of the time, if we focus too much on those things, it actually holds us back, because we find ourselves worrying, we find ourselves stressing. And the more we stress about it, the more we worry about it, the less focus we have on actually addressing the solution or finding the solution. And at that point, that survival instinct actually becomes negative. And something that I would recommend that's helped me a lot, like deal with that, because that's something that you'll never really fully get rid of. That focusing on the negative thing, like you'll never fully be able to get rid of that because it's programmed into your instincts. But like with everything else, you are able to manage it. You're able to find ways and adjust your lifestyle to be able to manage it. And what's really helped me do that is meditation, because meditation puts you in a mindset where you're focusing on your breathing, right? Or you're focusing on your body. And by focusing on your body, it takes that focus off of the negative things that are occupying your mind. And it gives your mind the opportunity to just relax and calm down. And through doing that every day, it gives your mind a break, which helps you recalibrate your thought processes, recalibrate your attention. And that's really been something that's helped me deal with my own mental health, is just the ability to like meditate. Because we also like when we stress about things, we physically like feel it. I have the worst connection. Sorry, Brute. No, it's okay. Like I feel like we've gotten, as long as like something has come across to you and added to your life, I'm happy. You don't need to apologize. You're doing great and I'm proud of you from the little I've seen of you on here. Thank you, Faiza. I appreciate that. I'm not too sure if you're talking about me or Amy, but thank you on behalf of Amy if you're talking about Amy. um, but yeah, no, that's like I hope that stuff helps because it's really helped me. And yeah, in light of all of the things that are going on in the world, I think it's really stressful. I mean, the whole idea of like a World War III, this whole thing with Rick passing away. I know everyone watching this is dealing with their own struggles. Um, and whatever you're dealing with, I hope that this helps. I'm talking about the both of y'all. Thank you. Thank you, Frieza, for joining us and sharing those kind words. Like, honestly, that's really added to my night. And I'm sure it's also added to Amy. I mean, you've never met either of us, but you can say such kind things. That's like very admirable. And that makes a difference. And that's the whole purpose of this live stream. I'm so gassed. I'm so happy that I actually like took the time to do this thing, man. Ah, ah. All right, so the Instagram live just dropped. Look, I don't know if anyone else is here still. Um, but if you are, like, thank you for coming through. Honestly. Um, ah, damn. I can't believe this thing failed. I wonder why. Uh, okay. But yeah, anyways, if you did come through, I appreciate you taking the time. And I honestly hope that let me start this live again, okay, in case people want to just come for the outro, you know? But yeah, I think it's oh my word, dude, this thing is not cooperating, bro. Do 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 do. Ah, I don't know why that live just ended. But yo, Twenga, you still here? No way. No way. That's phenomenal. Thank you so much for staying. I hope tonight added something to yours life. Like that was the purpose of this. And yeah, like if I'm able to just like if we were able, I'm not even gonna say I, everyone that joined tonight, you're all a part of this, right? And I know Yusuf and I were mainly the only people speaking, and I know I don't want to put pressure on people to participate in that way, but like if you were a part of this, even just by listening, even just by like partaking in the conversation, you are a part of like the reason why people were able to take away something from this tonight. Um, and that is a beautiful thing. Guys, I don't know why the live ended. I apologize. It just cut. So Instagram tings. Mark, we got zucked. We got zucked tonight. But I was just closing off the live, like, and I was just saying, yo, everyone who came through tonight, you're a part of the reason why we were able to make a positive impact on the people that were a part of this. Even if you were just someone here that was just listening, I hope that, like, through the conversations that were had, there was something to take away. And if one person took away from what we spoke about tonight, I feel like I've accomplished my job. And I think it's important for me to just kind of say that there's also sort of a responsibility on you to take whatever that is that you took away and apply that in your life and kind of let that rub off on someone else. Because honestly, when it comes to achieving great things in life, whatever our goal and purpose may be, like I know through the Creatrepreneur platform, the goal and purpose is to facilitate connections between business and creatives in order to be able to create opportunity for all, right? That's the goal, right? And I don't know if everyone is aligned with that goal, but whatever goal we're aligned with and we have, we all, in order to achieve that, we can't achieve it alone. We need to work together to be able to do that. And I think that's the whole purpose of community. So the fact that you're here tonight and you're just a part of the conversation, whether you just pop by for a minute, whether you contributed by speaking, whether you contributed by typing a message or leaving a like, or were just listening and took something away from it, you are a part of that change. And that's honestly, it comes with a huge responsibility to continue that change, but also you should be proud of yourself for being here and being a part of like this whole purpose of the stream. And yeah, like I said, the purpose of the stream was just to be able to extend a hand to people out there that might be struggling. And I feel like all of us are struggling at something, right? And I know that I was mainly the one speaking tonight. I really hope that in the future, other people will have the courage that Yusuf had to be able to step on the platform and kind of share something that they have gone through that can help anyone else listening. But I understand that that's a process, and we will get to that point where other people also are able to be able to participate in that way. But until then, y'all are awesome. And I'm sending my love to everyone that watched and that's here right now. Like, I honestly wish nothing but the best on your life. And you have power. I think that's the takeaway from tonight. Like, no matter what you're going through, no matter how you're feeling, no matter who you're around that's giving you challenges or whatever it may be, you have power in that situation. You honestly have power to make a difference in that situation. And when you realize that power and you actually utilize that power, you will start to see the things change around you. And the way that I like to view it is don't let your environment shape your emotions, let your emotions shape your environment, right? And if you're able to do that, and if you're able to practice that and master that, you are going to change the world. And by surrounding yourself with other people who are doing the same thing is going to amplify that change. So I preach that on your life. Take that away from today. Rita, how are you, cousin? It was a pleasure having you come by. I'm about to end though, but thank you for coming through. And Faiza, hope nothing but the best for you, Josh. May God keep your beautiful heart safe and happy. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for coming through, Faiza. You are amazing. It's tough, bro, but I hear you. Thorn, I know it's tough. I know it's tough, but take peace in knowing that when you're going through something tough, it's equipping you with some sort of tool that you need to be able to face the challenges of tomorrow. And if you're able to go through that situation with a positive mindset, you will be able to equip yourself with that tool quicker. And just the fact that you're doing that, the people that are observing you and seeing you do that is going to add positivity into their life as well. And that's change, that's impact. So if you want to be a person of influence, if you want to be a person of impact, you need to find whatever you need to find within you to be able to think about your situation in a positive mindset. And if you're able to do that, you're going to change the world, my friend. And there's people out there to support you, bro. Like that's the whole purpose of this live stream is to remind you of that, dude. Is to remind you of that you have that power within you. Um, I'm fine. And you, I'm good. Thank you. Nice to see you too, Rita. Even though I can't really see you, but thank you for coming through. And then Angie, yes, I agree. Amen. 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 Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna end the stream. It's getting a bit late. But yeah, and I feel like I honestly feel like tonight we managed to do something, you know? If we can continue this, if we can um build momentum behind this, then this is going to make a big impact. And I feel it in my soul. Like this is one of the things that gets me up in the morning is that thought and that belief in the fact that there's a reason why we are here. And the reason is to leave something behind. It's to leave a legacy and impact the most amounts of people that we can in a positive way throughout our lives. Um, so yeah, thank you guys for being a part of that in my journey. I appreciate you. Rita, you have to come visit us in Portugal. Don't worry, I'm gonna come soon. I'm working on it. It's gonna come soon. Don't worry. Don't worry. I actually applied for my Portuguese passport uh 2 days ago, I think it was. So once I get that, then it's gonna be a lot easier. But yeah, guys, I appreciate every single one of you that came through. I don't want to leave. I wish I could just like share the rest of my life like this. And just be there for you guys. But yeah, at some point we got to end it. But yeah, anyways, before I end, I think it's just important for me to just share the thing or the vessel that I'm using to try and create like so I'm talking about a lot of ideas and a lot of things that you can apply in your life, but I think it's important for me to share how I'm applying it in my life. And the way that I'm doing that is through the Creator platform or the Creator community. The purpose of the creator community is to link creators with business. Creators have talent and ability to gain attention, which is something that businesses need. And businesses have that need, but they have income and resources to be able to help creators sustain their livelihoods. So my goal is to bridge the connection between those two entities. And the way that I do that is through community, education, and inspiring. And if you want to be a part of that, please like go check out my bio. You'll see the Create Your Community page. Go follow that page and you'll see content coming out. If you also click on the link tree, you'll be able to access all of the other channels that we operate on. If you want to really be involved, you can check out the Creator Discord. We are going to be active in there. We're going to be posting job opportunities in there. We have a channel that's for people to ask questions and look for advice from other people in the community. And yeah, you'll also just be notified of what's going on because we're launching a YouTube channel next week, which is super exciting. And that content is going to educate people on how to use content to amplify their voices. And yeah, really would be privileged and honored to have you a part of that. So if that's something that interests you, you can go find everything in my bio. And yeah, guys, have a fantastic evening. And I will see you guys soon. All right. Goodbye.